Hello and welcome to another edition of the C Squared podcast. This is your host, Curtis, with my co-host, Holly Royal, and we are here today with actress and musician Jessica Pimentel, who is going to be with us for the next 30-ish minutes or so, and we're going to be talking about all sorts of things. And to start off, thank you very much, Jessica, for coming on with us.
Thanks, Curtis. Thanks for having us. It's been quite a ordeal trying to get together, but we finally did it. Yes.
Struggle is real. For those who don't know, we've been trying to both nail down dates for a while now, but I've always had something come up or whatever. So, yeah. But we're finally here, and it's going to be awesome.
It's a beautiful day. Good morning, good afternoon, good morning. Well, depends where you are.
Yeah, I was going to say it's afternoon over here. So, Jessica, to start off, can you kind of give us an intro and kind of like a nutshell version of who you are, what you do, type of thing?
Wow, yes. Well, my name is Jessica Pimentel. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Started playing music at a very young age, and that led to many, many wonderful opportunities throughout my life. And at some point around high school age, about 15 or so, I started having problems with my hands, and that opened a door. Instead of closing one, it opened another door into the acting world. And from 18 on, I've been doing both acting, musician, and along the way, I became a Tibetan Buddhist, and I've been exploring that and now getting into teaching that meditation and Tibetan Buddhist theory, and have somehow managed to combine all three and have them all serve a greater purpose in my life, for me, for everyone.
That's amazing. Cool. Before Holly asks the next question, though, just as a follow-up to that, so how long have you been kind of doing music though for, just for people that don't know?
Well, I got my first instrument when I was a toddler and started taking lessons right away. My next door neighbor was a concert violinist, so he'd come over and I'd have a little living room lesson from 5 to about age 7. From about 7, I started going to the Rusa School of Music, where I got a full scholarship, and I learned chamber music, orchestral music, and solo violin. From then on, I continued doing that. On the weekends, I would play in the borough-wide orchestra, which is a collection of kids. They'd get together from each borough, and eventually they'd form a citywide orchestra playing in 150 piece orchestra. Then went to Performing Arts High School, where I studied theory, composition, all that. And then, heavy metal came, heavy metal, punk rock, hardcore. And I really wanted a guitar, got a guitar, started doing that, and grew up in the New York hardcore scene with all my New York bands on the Sunday matinees, CBGB matinees, or Wetlands on Friday nights, and got into that. Was great release and great outlet, super fun, lifelong friends, all that. So I mean, I've been playing music basically my entire life.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, Holly, go now.
Oh wow, there's a big space for me to fill now. But no, I would say it's amazing how many classically trained musicians go into metal. I always find that amazing. It's great. Anyway, I better ask you all about your history in metal. Obviously, you're known for being in Alakeen's Gun, but we'd love to know more about the other bands that you're involved with as well.
Sure. I mean, Alakeen's Gun, that's our baby. Me and my brother just writing songs and just having fun, having a great time. The songs are pretty meaningful to me personally, lyrically, because they do incorporate my religious aspects and my personal experiences. But I mean, I started off playing in hardcore bands with everybody, like sharing a guitar with 4 people and no tuner to be found anywhere. And just making makeshift bands, or someone was sick that week and you just fill in. So that I filled in on every position. I filled in bass, I filled in guitar, I filled in as a singer. Then eventually I was in Everybody Gets Hurt. We went to Japan together, put out some music together. That was also amazing. I played bass in Desolate for a little bit, which is like a power groove, hardcore metal, power, fun, tough guy, because that's me. I'm a tough guy. So basically some good time, tough guy music. And then a little more serious, I played with Kenny Grahowski and my other brother, Earl Manian, in a band called Black Heart Sutra, which is kind of, wow. I don't know how to describe it. It's like Dillinger Escape Plan plus Pantera plus Mahavishnu Orchestra took acid in a room together and hated each other. Then you have Black Heart Sutra, and that's with a bunch of guest singers, which is fantastic. Everyone on that album is phenomenal, and there will be more. And last but certainly not least, I have been known, so they say, my face is covered. Well, the face is covered. Been in Brujeria as well, which is if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. But it's basically comprised of a lot of really stellar players from all types of bands in metal, pretty legendary players in and of their own rights. So it's pretty much a very huge honor to be in that band.
I wanted to just do a quick follow-up with you on that. So which band would you consider, like, out of all the bands that you've played with, which one would you say that would be the one that you think is like your main priority? Then it's Alakine's Gun?
Yeah, that would be that, because I had the most input in the writing of the music as well as the lyrics, 100% of the lyrics, and a good chunk of the writing in the first two EPs. So yeah, that's the closest to my heart. But they are all special in their own unique way, and I love them each individually for many reasons.
Cool, very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I'm just interested to know, how did you sort of become involved with such a wide spectrum of different styles and bands? Was it just sort of getting known in the scene and then?
I mean, the world is small. We all know each other. Everyone knows each other. And to think that just because you play black metal doesn't mean you don't want to do some tough guy stuff once in a while, or if you do tough guy stuff doesn't mean that you don't like some black and jazz every once in a while. We're musicians. Musicians love music. And it's always a great challenge and opportunity when you collaborate with people just slightly outside of your wheelhouse, a little bit out of your comfort zone. It makes you grow as a person, makes you grow as a musician. And then you establish bonds, you try new things. I mean, I played violin for a witch house band, like electro goth, witch house, gloom and doom kind of sexy music. And that was one of my favorite projects to date, which is something that people wouldn't expect from me. And it wasn't something that I expected from myself, but I just heard this band. I love them. I stalked them. They were afraid of me. They let me play on their album. And that was it, because I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to do something different. And I think that's something that I've always tried to do in my life, in my career, is always push the boundaries of what I think I'm capable of, or who I think I am. So you don't want to be stale as a human, as an artist, or in anything you do.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that. Okay, so we might as well, shall I go on to the next thing? I'll go on to the next thing.
I'm sorry, I feel like I'm like rushing because I'm like, oh my God, we gotta do this in like
worry.
20 minutes.
I know, there's so much to talk about.
We can slow it down, guys, if you guys want.
That's just me. It's been a while since I've, done one of these or talked to people. Hi, people, how are you? It's been a while. I had to practice a little bit. Like last week was my first time back on set, and a real movie set since June or July of 2019. It was nerve-wracking. Yeah, because after Orange, I was able to do a great film called Giving Birth to a Butterfly. Surreal, beautiful, awesome film. Then we were going to take a little time off. I had some much needed, surgery that I'd been putting off. Nothing major, just something that putting off that, changes the quality of your life significantly. Yep. And that's like an 8-week recovery. So I wasn't walking or doing anything for a couple of months. Then was the pandemic. And there you go. And that was that. That was my year, the last 6 months of 2019 into the beginning of 2020. And it just kind of, that was it.
Yeah, that sucks. Wow. Let me ask you this question, just as a follow-up to that. So what did you do to keep yourself occupied during that whole time? Just if you couldn't regular outlets, though. But you're an actress, so is there anything you had to do to practice up while you were?
I was still auditioning regularly for roles. reading scripts daily for things that I might want to do. I was also teaching. I was teaching teenagers who were in a Shakespeare intensive. Believe it or not, that is my favorite thing to do. Although
Really?
you may not know this from my repertoire of hooker, inmate hooker. I do have a degree in theater arts with a special focus on Shakespeare. So I was able to work with these young budding actors who were doing their college auditions where they had to prepare Shakespearean pieces and to watch them grow, because I did it with them last year as well. So to watch them grow from the year before to this year was fantastic, amazing. And so like now they're like ready for college. It was really beautiful. I was also able to, read for writers. This was a really great time to compose, to write, to whether it's music or prose or plays or take up painting, whatever. People that were really in their little cocoons, in their bubbles, telling their stories. And I was able to work with writers who were testing out new material, trying out new plays. We premiered a wonderful play about Columbus landing on the Dominican Republic, on the Hispaniola, what that might have been like, a magical, realistic take on it. So I was still able to work a lot, even though it wasn't in a traditional way. I mean, we did the concert Slay at Home with my other project, Night Soil, with Frank Gaba and Nick MD, which I fucking loved. Was so great. And, we did that project and we were not, Frank and Nick were in 2 different states and I was in a different continent. I was also able to record during that time where none of us were on the same continent. No one was in the same country, basically. Wow. So you just had to think outside of the box, and it did present some challenges, but ultimately it made you more creative. It made you want to try new things. It made you want to work with new people. And it was nice to be home. It was nice to be home for a long time.
Yeah, I think a lot of people either used the pandemic to either get a lot of stuff done or they just kind of vegged out. There was like really no.
We were 50-50 because pardon me 1 second, time out. I'm waiting for a delivery.
You need me to pause?
Yeah, pause for 1 second.
Okay. We're good.
We were 50-50 because we were in Stockholm. We were in Sweden the entire time. And Sweden took quite a different approach to how they were going to deal with the pandemic. They were going to try herd immunity, which, logically speaking, isn't so far-fetched of an idea. I remember being a kid and having the chicken pox parties that, if one kid in the class gets it, you should all get it now so that you're all out at the same time. No big deal. So it didn't seem like too bad of an idea, but my husband and I, we have too many things going on. Like we didn't have time for it. We didn't have time to get sick. We didn't have time to find out how bad it could be. We didn't have time to find out if we have any pre-existing conditions, how that would affect dealing with it. I'm allergic to a lot of medications. I did not want to find out. Let's just say that. Okay. Because I knew a lot of people that had it that were suffering for a very long time after they had gotten better. So I just used my own experience and my friends' experiences to make my own decisions. And our decision was basically isolate as much as we could from people. I mean, we didn't lock up like it was the apocalypse by any means, but we are lucky enough that we have, he has an office, a studio to work at that he could go somewhere every day. And I had room in my house to set up my own studio, whether it was recording music or recording auditions or teaching or taking classes or doing podcasts, whatever that was. And then once in a while, if we felt that we needed to go out, we would assess the situation, is it well ventilated? Are there a lot of people? Is everyone drunk and spitting in my face? Let's get out of here, So we were, I think, respectfully cautious of what we thought we were dealing with. But a lot of times also that translated to staying home and watching a lot of TV, which was great too.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We had the next question was about social media, but that kind of leads into the fourth question if Holly's willing to get into that first.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I mean, we've kind of touched on it already, but it'd be good to know how you sort of manage everything that you do, because there must be so much going on for you in all these different areas, the teaching, the music and the acting. So
Yeah,
balance it.
I feel like that's always been my life.
Mm.
For me, it doesn't feel strange to go to meditation class on Tuesday and a dance party on Wednesday and a conga drum circle on Thursday and kickboxing Friday and band practice Saturday, then go to a show after, then go to a flotation tank or something. That because growing up in New York, we were constantly overstimulated. We have everything available at your fingertips 24 hours, 7 days a week. And especially when I was a teenager, younger, well, first, when you're a kid, we already start hustling. Like even before you're born, you're competing for what schools are you going to. So you already know that, we got to go, we got to move. But growing up in a city where everything is available to you, it would be foolish to not take advantage of everything that is available to you. To go to the Krishna temple, go to the Buddhist temple, go to the Met, go to the opera, go to the ballet, go to CBGB's, go to ABC No Rio, go to the goth party, go to the metal party, go to the rave, go play soccer, in Central Park Meadow, go take a freaking paddle boat, bicycle thing, do it, just do everything. Go everywhere, do everything, because people kill to live here. People would die to live here. So, and that was where I already grew up. So I always had a day that was action packed. And also, in order to live here, you have to hustle. The cost of living here is very high. So I remember being in college and having a job before school, then going to school, then rehearsing after, because I was in an acting conservatory. So you'd have to rehearse your scenes after. And then, maybe do your homework, your homework you're reading, and then go to the night job and then do more rehearsal. And I mean, every day was like constant, 12 to 18-hour days, which I think prepared me for being an actor, where you have easily an 18-hour day on the regular, and having that work ethic, having that discipline to get it done.
Just out of curiosity, well, not out of curiosity, because I've heard the stories from others, but can you kind of go over with people like just exactly how many hours you have to work when you're acting, like, per day? Because I know it's a lot.
It really depends. Yeah, it really depends on the project. It depends on how the schedule is set up. For example, the other day I did a day where we did several of my scenes in one day.
Oh, nice.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
On one hand, because then you know that you have tomorrow free or whatever, you have a little bit more free time.
Yeah.
But let's say I will get up. I had to be up at about 5 a.m. ready to go at 7:15. Then there's a lot of hurry up and wait situations, like hair, makeup, costume, rehearsal, doing all that, waiting for the light to be right, waiting for this to be right. And then there are the takes. You see a 30-minute show, it doesn't take 30 minutes to do. A 5-minute scene could take 5 hours to do, depending on what cameras we're using, what angles we're using, if you want a far away shot, a medium shot, a close-up shot, a 1-person shot, a 2-person shot, a 3-person shot. Is the shot moving? Is it static? So this takes time and time and time, and then it starts raining. Then you have to stop. So there's so many. Then you have to take lunch. Then you have to take breaks. So I mean, basically, we did all my scenes. I was up at 5 and I got home at 3:30 in the morning, and that's a typical day.
Oh wow!
That my hat's off to you. I don't think I could do that, but that's awesome.
Well, I love it. So
well, I mean,
you have to love it.
Yeah, the passion would be the thing that would get you through. So now, since we only got about 10 minutes left, I'm going to switch the gears a little bit over, just talking about social media. So which platform would you say that you think you get the best results from out of all the platforms you're on?
I feel Instagram is the one that gets to people the most.
Cool.
I would say people just love to scroll. It just gets your point across, whether that's lunch or an announcement. it's kind of much easier. Whereas Facebook, like I can't find people sometimes on there. I don't really follow bands on there. I'd rather follow them on IG or whatever, or, like it's easier to seek people out on Instagram, what you want to do and repost and retweet and all that stuff. Like Twitter, I feel it's good for the grown-ups. I feel like my adult messages seem to get to the right people on Twitter, or it's really just like for drama and beef and gossip kind of thing. Like, all that stuff. And I'm not that at all. I feel Instagram is really good as far as that is concerned. Although you have the algorithm thing and the shadow ban thing, which I know I experience quite often. But I've also learned not to take any of this personally. In the sense that anytime that I post anything that is particularly personal or out of the frame of reference of who people think I am or who they want me to be, that I'll immediately lose 1,000 followers, something like that within an hour. It's like, oh no, that's not the idea of the Jess that we want. We want either the heavy metal Jess or we want the always perfect red carpet Jess. We don't want to see your mom. We don't want to see your lunch. We don't want to hear anything about, your personal struggles unless you make it like a platform thing. You can't just be you. Everything has to be curated or people get really freaked out by it. And that's that. So I keep it to a minimum. I keep my real personal life to myself as much as possible. When I have an announcement, I'm happy to share it. When I have a good red carpet moment, happy to share it. New music out, happy to share it. But really intimate moments are mine and for me and my loved ones and my friends and family, and because some people are really personal on that. And that makes me a little uncomfortable, but that's me. And some people are also, that is their attention seeking platform, and they'll, Bikini Tuesdays, and that is also not me, and that's never gonna be me unless I'm getting paid $1 million to be in a bikini. No, I'm kidding. It's just not my style, never has been in real life or for attention on a fake platform, whatever. That's so I think it really does tailor to that type of person, attention seeking personalities. And I know it seems kind of counterintuitive that someone who's on stage all the time is not an attention seeking personality, but I am not that. No thirst traps here, guys.
Let me ask you this, Jessica, because one thing I would kind of be confused by, how do you kind of keep all those followers in? Because like you said, you do have, like, you got your metal stuff, you got your actress stuff, you got your Buddhist stuff, you got all sorts of stuff on your pages, but you seem to be able to, like, you have a crowd still, if you get what I mean. You have to the madness or what?
No, there's no method. I just try to be as honest as possible. I try to do things from the heart. And if you don't like it, unfollow. That's fine. No big deal.
Fair.
I mean, I did try to compartmentalize myself and maybe even have multiple accounts. Someone at Instagram told me, you are the most confusing person on Instagram. We don't know where to put you, because you have those influencer moments where you're, hyping a product that you like, whether they're paying you or not. Because I do that. Like, I just found this awesome coffee mug, whatever, because I love to share that with people. But then I do have the spiritual side, and I have the metal side, and some people cannot reconcile that someone who's into heavy metal has a spiritual life, which makes no sense, because most spiritual people I know are into metal, heavy music. And they also want that vapid, actress, cardboard cutout person that is perfect and flawless, and that is not me all the time. It takes 27 people to look like that. No one looks like that every day. And I did used to follow a lot of celebrities, and I had to unfollow them because the curating of your life to a point where you constantly look like everything is perfect kind of makes me a little sick, because it really makes other people feel down about their lives, makes them think that your life is always that picture perfect moment if that's only what you show. But we know that that's not true. I know that I've been at that table full of glamorous people, and it's 36 pictures to get the right one where everyone agrees, where everyone looks good. And then another 10 minutes of editing and filtering, and it's fucking annoying. It's not for me. It's not for me. So if I do have a picture where I look nice because I feel nice, I want to share it. Yes, sometimes I can look nice. Thank you very much. As opposed to when I'm screaming on stage, my nose is flared and my belly fat is hanging out, I'm sweaty and I've like eyeliner running down. I can look like that too. And that's okay. They're both valid sides of me and they're both equally important. And they've both, done tremendous things for me. But I'm not going to hide one or another or this is my Buddhism account. This is my heavy metal account. This is my pretty account. And this is my secret account for friends and family only. It's too much work. I don't have that much time. I don't have that much energy. So
that's awesome. Holly, what do you want to follow up with the social media?
I don't know. I just thinking I wish more people on Instagram were like you. That's amazing. I really do.
I mean, look, I appreciate those accounts of some people that literally, which I have considered myself, getting someone else to do this shit for you, where every picture is an editorial. Every picture looks like it belongs in a magazine. The whole account has a mood. Those are so cool to follow for like 6 months, and then it's boring again because you've seen the aesthetic. It's like, oh, are you taking a candlelit bubble bath again? By the lunar equinox, thank you. That's amazing. It's like everything is so contrived then that pretty images then start feeling contrived. You don't know that person. You're just getting a museum version of them, a magazine version of them. But that's nice to look at too. I follow a lot of art and photography accounts simply because they're going to put up aesthetically pleasing photos all the time. Nothing political, nothing, it's going to be something that makes my eyes happy. And that's great too. But I lost my train of thought. But yeah, that some people have that persona, and that is also a lot of work. If you ever want to be on Instagram for real, like a real person, you're never really sharing yourself. You're sharing this wall, this facade. So, I mean, that works for some people, sure. I mean, I have considered it. If you see all of a sudden, it's all like, like a Vogue magazine or something, everything is for, then you'll know exactly why, because I just got fed up of doing it myself. And I don't blame anyone that has a lot of followers or a lot of fans to just wash their hands of it and let someone else handle it and keep the brand, so to speak, air quotes, your brand.
Yeah. I personally, I always think that when the person themselves handles it, it comes across as just authentic, and you can't beat that personally.
You can always tell when someone else is doing it, you can always.
Or in turn answering the comments or something like that, and it's like,
I make sure I go through all the comments. I like them, I read them. I answer questions that I think are that are not too personal or give advice or whatever. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
So how, I guess, a couple final questions, since now we're 2 minutes over the time. How much time per day would you say it takes you to answer all the comments and responses? Because you got a large account. I think you get a lot per day.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of avoid that secret DM one.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of people kind of sneak in there, and I've had bad experiences with people that are not well. For example, while I was on Orange, there are people out there that cannot separate reality from fiction. So I was getting death threats. I was getting, like horrible comments constantly because of what my character was doing at the time, which has nothing to do with me. And people, I know where you live, I'm going to kill you, like, wow, like it's a little unnerving. So I do a lot of blocking at times. I delete. I used to fight with and retort with people who maybe disagreed with my posts or whatever it was. If it was a political post or some kind of social activism, I used to go back and forth with people, and now I find it's better to just either let them fight it out themselves or delete any comments that are extremely offensive or hard-headed, ignorant. I just get rid of them now at this point. Because it's my page. I do what I want. I don't need your opinion on my page. But and I try to keep things positive. I try to show my life, what I'm working on. And I wouldn't say, some days I'm on it for an hour or two. Some days I just leave it alone. I don't think I've posted I posted on my birthday, but before that I didn't post for a week or 2 weeks. Or you have to take mental health breaks. I think, because then it becomes pressure that you're looking through your pictures like, oh no, I posted one in a dress last week. Oh no, this is a repeat of last year. I can't, oh no, I put too many pictures that are black and white. I'm wearing orange again. I'm wearing blue again. Like you start thinking that it's a job. Then when you start thinking that it's a job, you might as well pay someone else to do that job. Then it's not fun. It's not authentic. It's not sincere. Then just put it down. Just don't even bother.
Cool. Awesome. Holly, what else do we have for Jessica before we end off?
Well, I guess it'd be interesting to know if you've noticed like your band getting like further sales or further support through the way that you use social media.
Yes, from metalheads, but it's always a delight when you see someone who is a fan of either your Buddhism or the acting, who's coming to see my character on stage and dealing with the harsh reality that character does not exist, and they are going to get a much more shocking version of who they think I am in their face. It's you always see that person. It's like a fan, up front and smiling bright, and they push their way to the front, and then we'll start, and their face just drops, and there's a slight look of fear, a little panic at times, because they just constantly, those people want to see you kind of always in that pigeonhole all the time, and when you step out of it, it kind of jars them. So that's why I try to share as much as I can of myself, of my real self, my full true self. I don't feel like I have a persona. God bless those people that do. I could not carry that on, a character persona. I could never do that. I'm not good at that.
Fair enough. Holly, anything else we want to cover?
That's possibly everything for me, because I feel so we'll just not stop talking.
Yeah.
We're
going to try to get you back at some point, Jessica.
Sure.
Way we can continue on the conversation. But for now, thank you very much for coming on. And do you have any final words before we end off?
No, thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to talking with you again.
Awesome.